What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. My name is Justin, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have another episode of Comic Collector Origins. This is episode 68. So we're moving and grooving here in the new year 2022. Hope everybody's doing well. Before I go any further, take a moment, smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super pumped for this weekend because it's Super Bowl Sunday. It's Super Bowl weekend. Really pumped for that, even though my team is not there. Definitely looking forward to the entertainment for sure. So yeah, if you're not familiar with this show, Comic Collector Origins, it's all about the community. It's where I interview folks from the community and ask them more about their origin story of how they got into this awesome hobby. And we talk about first appearances and things like that of characters. So I thought it'd just be a really cool kind of flip to do that with the community. So I see a lot of folks in the chat already, so we'll hit them up in just a second. But let me just talk a little bit about my guest here today. I'm really excited to have my good friend Jimmy from Small Town Collectibles, and very excited because Jimmy and I, Jimmy has a show that's very similar in that he also talks to a lot of the community, and I am a huge fan of that. Anytime that people are taking their time to introduce other cool people and connect others in this comic book community, I'm such a big fan of. So if you guys do not know Jimmy, make sure you check him out. I've already hung out with him once before, maybe 8 months or so ago over on Gary B's channel. Had a lot of fun talking there. So let me bring my man Jimmy in here and we'll get started. Jimmy, what's up, brother?
What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Just a lazy Saturday afternoon here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky, waiting for the Cats to play at 4 o'clock. So I'm already representing today. We play Florida at 4 o'clock at Rupp Arena. So we're playing now for that 1 seed. Like it's, we're deep into the college basketball season and we're pretty good. So, yeah, we're excited about watching the Cats later today.
Very nice, very nice. And then, of course, as we were talking backstage, we got Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow against the Rams. That should be, hopefully, I'm hoping it's a shootout. I'm hoping it's high scoring, and I hope it's close.
I can't wait. Like, legit, we were talking before we came on. Like, okay, I live in Kentucky. We don't have any professional teams, right? That's why college sports are so important to us. And here in Eastern Kentucky, the closest place to us with a professional team is Ohio, which is Cincinnati. Now, Pittsburgh's not that far away either, so you'll have some Steelers fans. Sure. But there's a bunch of long-suffering Bengals fans here, and we're pumped. Like, you got time for a quick story?
Yeah, go for it.
So my daughter's dance, like, I'm supposed to be at a dance competition right now. But because it's Super Bowl Sunday and the Bengals are playing, my wife said, no, you can stay home if you want to. So I was like, cool.
She knows what's up.
She knows. So when we played the Chiefs, we were at a dance competition in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, gosh.
And just so happened that there were a couple of teams there, one from Northern Kentucky, which is right on the border of Cincinnati, and one from Cincinnati. So on the second day of the competition, which is the day they do the awards, there were tons of people running around with Bengals gear on. And so I'm a social butterfly. So I end up making friends with a bunch of these people because one of them has their phone and they have a projector playing the game on the wall outside in the lobby of this convention center. Nice. So in between dances, I'm hanging out with them watching the game.
Right.
Well, we go in, it's awards time, right? So everybody has to kind of come in. And everybody's sitting there watching it on their phones, basically, including me. And all the girls are up on stage. They're doing awards. So they announce an award. Everybody cheers, for whatever team won. Well, then the clock hits 0 in that Chiefs-Bengals game. The Bengals win. And the entire place erupted in cheer.
Man.
Like it was awesome. It was hands down maybe the coolest thing ever at a dance competition. And what was funny is the girls on stage had no clue what was going on. And so they all turn around like they didn't announce a winner. What are you all cheering about? Right. And I'm standing up yelling "Who Dey" in every direction, and then I embarrassed my girls. They're like, "You're so embarrassing," because I'm out slapping hands with everybody after making our way back to the car, honking the horn. Like, no, it was awesome. And I told you when the Bengals beat the Raiders, the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, that was the first time in history that anybody ever got to text somebody about a Bengals playoff win. It's been that long. And they've never won a Super Bowl. And so, we've got Hollywood Joe Burrow at quarterback, Chase, out at wide receiver. Like, I am psyched about the Super Bowl tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, man, I am with you there, and that's really cool to hear. I could definitely picture the crowd screaming, and the girls are like, "Wait, no one even."
No, it was hilarious because they really did. There's 150 girls on stage or however many,
right.
and they all turn around like, "What? What is going on?" But people were going nuts. Like it was crazy. It was cool. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, we'll definitely, I'm pumped for it, and we'll dive into more. Again, thank you for taking some time to be here, and just joining me here. If anybody that's watching right now or watching the replay, if you're not following Jimmy, I put his information in the description below. You should certainly check out his channel and Instagram as well. Like I said, Jimmy, love what you're doing over on your channel. I'm a big fan of anybody who is, taking their time to highlight others and like you said earlier, like you definitely have a lot of great information as well. So anybody just looking to learn a lot about, new releases, older stuff, like a good mix of everything and meeting new people. I think it's great content all around.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And I feel the same about your channel. Big fan of you as well. Once I got to sit down with you on In the Hot Seat on Gary B's channel, I really enjoyed that. And it kind of led me to discover your channel and the content you're doing. And I love this Comic Collector Origin show. So I think this is a lot of fun, and it's an honor for me to be on.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
I'm also a little bit nervous. I told you before we came on, I was like, I'm a little bit nervous. Like I'm usually on the other side of this. I'm usually asking the questions. And so it's a little different to be on this side. But I appreciate you having me, man. I really do.
Absolutely, man. And I'll throw you some tough ones later, but it's all fun for the most part. Let's say a quick load of the chat here. I see we got 10 people in here right now. Starting off with my man, Michael, AKA Sove Collector, saying hello and happy Saturday. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks for stopping by, hanging out with us today. We also got my man, DJ Links in the house.
DJ Links, what's up, buddy?
Thanks for stopping in. We got coffee and a comic hanging out with us today as well. Well, hello. We got my good friend James Phelps. Good afternoon to you as well, my friend. We also have Inja Binja in the house. What's up, Inja? Appreciate you stopping by. Happy Saturday indeed. We have my good friend Ryan, aka Magic Lasso, also hanging out with us. He says, "Why you go to the Gal Gadot movie without me?" Though, yeah, I know, Ryan. I had to. It was opening night. But yeah, just saw that new Death on the Nile, I think it's called. It's not bad, thanks for stopping in, Ryan. Good to see you. We got Digger Jim also in the house. Jim, I saw you earlier as we were hanging out over on Haley's channel, doing a little community stream there. So good to see you, Jim. Let's see, scrolling through, see some people saying hi to some people. We got Nick's Kicks and Comics. What's going on, brother? Gotta get that guy on this channel too, man. Nick.
Oh, Nick's the best, dude. You gotta have Nick on. Like, Nick's the best. He's one of the coolest people out there. He really is. I love that guy.
And he knows how to win like all my giveaways. I feel like I've mailed him like 4 different things already in the past year.
I have a great picture, Justin, of me giving Nick a big old kiss on the cheek.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice. I do it. See, I got to meet him at C2E2. A bunch of us met up there, and I got to meet Nick.
I think I saw pictures from the last one. Yeah, that's cool. By the way, and we'll get into that, but I am going to go to this year's C2E2. I don't know if that's on your list or not, but this summer I definitely plan to go to that. Cool. Hopefully I'll meet some more people there. Let's see. Scrolling through, I think I got Rock City Comics also hanging out with us. What's going on, Rock City? Thanks for stopping in. Please take a moment, smash that like button if you haven't already. And like I said, if you're not following Jimmy, then make sure you do so. Put his information in the description below. Nick's saying I am the best. There you go. Yes, sir. All right. So let's get into this stuff. Jimmy, first and foremost, right off the bat, I want to know kind of where this hobby started for you, whether it was, you were starting to read first, or maybe you got interest in movies and cartoons and shows, or whatever came first. How did it start for you? How old were you? And what was your environment like at that time?
Oh, I was young. Like when I got into superheroes, right? Like I was young. There's pictures of me at 3-4 years old. They used to make these towel things that you would put over your head, and it would be like Batman's body or Superman's body. And I think that came from like growing up here. It's very, very rural. Okay. And especially when I was a kid, I'm 46 year old now. So, when I was 3-4 years old, I think we had like 3 channels, But Super Friends came on one of those channels. So I was a big DC Superman. I thought that if I could get on the roof, like my mom had concern that I thought if I could get on the roof and jump off, I could fly like Superman. Right. So I've always been into the superhero thing. Now, the comic books started from my uncle. It was my dad's brother. And he was a coal miner. Like, this is coal country. So he was a coal miner. And it was very common for those guys to get laid off from time to time. It was always kind of an ebb and flow. My dad was a coal miner as well. Well, my uncle, because of that, would hustle on the side, right? He would go to the flea markets and sell. And he would sell comic books. He would sell trading cards, because trading cards were like it is right now. It was huge back then. And so he would sell knives, just really anything he could make $1 on. He would go to the flea market and sell. Well, him and my dad were really tight. And so we would go over and hang out at the flea market. And I was allowed to read anything I wanted. Whatever I wanted to do, like, my uncle was awesome. So whatever I wanted, I could read. So I would sit down and start reading books. And the one that really I read first, and I don't know why or how, I guess it was just the way the cover looked, was Firestorm. The very first Firestorm. I still have it today. It's in a safety deposit box. It is beat to death because I read that thing 1,000 times.
Nice.
But I just immediately was drawn to the cover art, the colors, things like that. Well, then, you'll hear a lot of people talk when we didn't have LCSs, right? We didn't have comic book shops. You would go into the local supermarket and they would have a magazine rack and there would be some comics on it. So while my mom shopped, I would sit there and read comic books and occasionally buy one. Like, it wasn't really a thing where I was buying them to collect. I just would read them in the supermarket. And occasionally mom would let me get one. You can get a candy bar or a comic book. And sometimes I would choose the candy bar, sometimes the comic book, Right. But anyway, so hanging out with my uncle was kind of where it started. And it also created this love for trading cards as well. But my uncle, if you ever watch American Pickers, my uncle was Mike Wolf. That's who my uncle is like. Like, if I could compare him to anybody, he was just like Mike Wolf. So he would go pick, and he worked in a 6-hour radius. He would go pick, and me and my dad would go with him. And he would dig for comic books and things like that. And so all through my childhood, as he sold at the flea market, I always just read books. And he would buy and sell. And then ultimately, when he passed, he left me the books that he had acquired for his personal collection. And I have those books today. They're in a safety deposit box. But I mean, like, we have crazy stories. Like, I think with him at one time, and this is probably in the 80s, we found at least 4 AF-15s in the wild.
Wow. In the wild? That's
sold.
Crazy. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So, and you couldn't do that today if you tried. Like, there's too much information out there about those now.
Sure.
But we would find books like that. And he was a big reader himself. So he studied a lot. So he knew a lot about the books. Same thing with the trading cards. Like, I watched him trade a Rolex watch one time for 3 Hank Aaron rookie cards. And then he sold the Hank Aaron sold one of them for more than he paid for the Rolex. Like, he was that guy.
Yeah.
He could take a nickel and make $15 out of it in a second. I mean, it was insane. My dad always said he just had a gift, and he did. But that's really kind of how it started. And that went on up until probably I got into high school. And even in high school, I was still going over there and hanging out with him and reading the books that he had. And these were probably silver, bronze, copper, that era of books that he had over there that he was selling.
Right.
Well, then I discovered, as I like to say, I discovered girls and beer. And I kind of moved away, from that, went to college. And I would still pop in from time to time to a comic book shop or whatever and just see what was up. But I was broke. I didn't have any money. And I was more worried about buying beer than I was about a comic book.
Sure.
So that's really where it all started. It was just kind of in and out, hanging out at the flea market every weekend with my uncle. We were doing trading cards. Basketball back then was, NBA basketball. That's when Jordan played. So,
sure.
And they used to work me to death I was cheap. A box of basketball cards, I'd cut your entire hillside with a weed eater. So, and they wouldn't give me a weed eater. They would, give me a skiff, or a scaff. I call it a weed hook. Nick's Kicks and Comics calls it something else, but they would give me that, and I would cut your old hillside for a box of 86 Fleer. But that worked out for me because I got a bunch of Jordan rookie cards now. So.
There you go. Damn, that's awesome, man. That is really cool, and just a great opportunity to kind of be around it, fairly often. It seems like you kind of got a in-depth look, kind of behind the scenes of the whole part of this industry, everything from the reading side of things to the research side of things. So it's really cool. I want to take a quick second, say hello to a couple people in the chat. I saw my good friend Guy here.
Yeah,
Comic
what's up,
Forge.
baby?
Pressable Defects in the house. Just look at these two handsome fellas. I totally agree, man. Thank you, brother.
Right.
And my good friend Andres from Sweden here, Mercy Collectibles. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping by as well. Nick says
that's what they called it. They called it a man maker. My dad and my uncle called that weed hook the man maker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why he wouldn't give me a weed eater. I don't know. My grandma, I think, was like, he's gonna hurt himself. Don't give him a weed eater. So they give me a big sharp blade, essentially. Like, that makes any sense. But
so let me ask you this then. When did the whole idea of your YouTube channel and Instagram and any other platforms that you're on, how did that come about? Tying into this hobby and everything. And what came first? Were you on YouTube first, or was it Instagram, or?
No, both at the same time, really.
Okay.
My daughters had gotten to the point where, they were at that age where their dad was no longer cool, right? So they didn't necessarily want to hang out with me.
Right.
And I was bored, and I needed something to do because I work a lot. I own my own company, and I work all the time, but I needed something to do. And what I had done with my time prior to that was hang out with them. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't really require my attention so much anymore, or didn't want it. And so one day we were out shopping, and if you know me at all, you know that I despise shopping. Like, I hate it. Okay.
I'm with you.
And like, you take me to the mall, like, I'm a pretty nice guy. Most of the time, pretty easy to get along with. You take me to the mall, I become a different person. Like, my wife says it's like you pull in the parking lot and it's like your face changes. So, but anyway, so we were out, and we just happened to be in the town where my office is located, and they were doing some shopping at one of these outdoor malls. And I said, hey, there's a comic book shop down here. I don't want to walk around and look at these clothes. I'm going to go down there and take a look at the, at the shop. So I walk in, and it's like the heavens parted, and the angel started singing. I was like, I was like, dude, look at all these books, And so I went in. I kind of glanced through, was reading a little bit, picked through, a few back bin boxes. I hadn't done that in years, since really hanging out with my uncle at the flea market. And so I left, went back, and I told my wife, I said, I think I'm going to go back up there Monday after work and maybe pick up a few things to read, because I read a lot. I read books all the time, fiction, nonfiction. I like biographies. Nice. I read, I guess motivational books, self-help books, things that help me, sales books that, things that help me with my staff.
Sure.
And so I thought this could be fun. I can read, and I can get back into comic books. I love the movies. I love all those things. So I got back into the hobby. And the reason the whole YouTube thing even started was I was watching some content, right? Like, I was watching some mystery box unboxings. I was watching some comic book content, trying to get some knowledge so I would have an idea of what I was looking at when I went into the store.
Sure.
To the LCS. But we were having breakfast one day, and it was me and my wife and my two daughters, and they were talking about YouTube. And I was like, well, you should do a channel, do a channel. I said, I can probably help you figure it out. You film the content. You got your phone in your hand all the time anyway. Right. This makeup that you buy, these clothes that you buy, do that, review them, and put it on YouTube. And they were like, oh, no, we can't do that. And that really upset me, okay, because we come from a place where you're told that you can't be anything because we're a bunch of hillbillies. And I don't want to get too deep with that, but that is where we're from. As far as it compares to the rest of our state, we're considered a bunch of hill jacks, and we're essentially told we can't do anything. We can't be what we want to be. Wow. And I have proven that wrong, and so have a lot of people here. And I've tried to instill in my daughters that fact that you can literally do anything that you want to do. Number one, you got to have the nerve to try, and you're going to have to work. And if you're willing to do those two things, you can do anything you want. You may not be successful. You may not be the next YouTube star. That's okay. But if you want to try it. And they were just like, no, I can't, we can't do that. It's embarrassing. I said, you know what? I'll show you can. I'll do it myself. And so I was doing the comic book stuff. So I started buying mystery boxes. At first, right? Franchise kicks. That's on everybody's feed, right? Right. So you see franchise kicks. So I started buying mystery boxes and opening. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, was helping me. She is the editor for the TV station at their school in middle school. So she's like she edits the videos. So I'm the only channel in the history of YouTube where my content got worse as I went along, because she was she was filming my videos at first,
right? And then she
and editing those, and then she got tired of fooling with me. So, so I had to start doing it myself. So I'm the only in the history of YouTube. I'm the only one that it got worse. As
you've been going in the other direction. That's
right.
hysterical.
Exactly. So I had to teach myself how to edit, but that's how it started. And then as I was, kind of on my YouTube journey, I met this community.
Yep.
And this is so corny to say, but it is 100% the truth. I found something that I was missing and had no clue that I needed. And that was friendships with people who dug the same thing that I did. And there's not a ton of people around here that are into comic books, the people, because in my business life, everybody's talking about comic books. Nobody cares. They might go watch a Marvel movie or something, but you can't sit down and have an in-depth conversation about Superman, And so and you can't really hear either because everybody hates Superman apparently, but I'm kidding. Just chatting about comic books and things about like that. So I found these friendships and it has become a passion of mine. It's almost a hobby. And, the content that I do, it kind of changed to be more who I am, which is analytical, informational. That's what I do in my real life. And so that's why it kind of changed. And I like to read. I'm a new comic book day junkie. I like to read the new stuff. And so I started doing new comic book day content. And, first appearances and key issues is the video that I do on Tuesdays. And there's a lot of research, but it was research I was already doing for myself. So now I just share it, with the community on YouTube. New comic book day on a budget. I own a mortgage company, so I work with people a lot on budgeting, and I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. And so as trying to teach people how to budget. So that just seemed like a good way to go forward with content was new comic book day on a budget. So I try to break down 5-6 books. If you're on a budget, I try to stick around $25 a week. And what books would you buy? So, and then 10 questions, which is very similar to this show. There's a lot of community hangouts, like where people get together and hang out live. Unfortunately, my schedule does not allow for that because of how much I work and with my kids. They're in a night, volleyball, basketball. Like I went to a basketball game last night and we got volleyball today or had it this morning. So I don't get to hang out, but 10 questions allows me to sit down with people in the community and just get to know them. And it's been the greatest blessing of my life to be able to really sit down with people and get to know them. So the YouTube journey for me has been one that was unexpected what I got from it. Like I didn't believe I could make friendships virtually.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm that age where I've got one foot in the old school way of things and one foot in the new school way of things. I'm in the new school way because I have to be for my business, right? I have to be up to date on technology and things like that. So I've got one foot in, one foot over here. I never dreamed that I could make friendships like this, and I have. And it's been one of the greatest blessings of my life. So
that's amazing, man. I love how you you kind of stumble on or accidentally had this channel more so that you could encourage and show your kids what's possible and what can be done. And interesting to hear your thought process of that too, of just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it just to show you, and no other plan otherwise. And then it turned into what you were saying before of like something you didn't know you needed, that you now, like, you made so many connections. And I totally am right there with you with the experiences, the conversations that we have. Even something like this now, Jimmy, even before when we had hung out, if I saw you at a bar somewhere or whatever, like we could sit down and have a drink, or catch up just from that one experience of, really getting to know somebody. And it's cool, the fact that we live in a world where, yes, we can do it virtually now. We can get to know people virtually. And these platforms like this and shows like this and yours, allow for that kind of stuff. So I think that's awesome. And I'm always so curious about how people kind of, stumble across their channel and how they come up with stuff and their shows and different ideas. And so it's really cool to hear kind of how yours was. Cause like you were, I love that the goal was to set an example. And
that was the whole thing, but I continue to do it now because I love it. Like it developed, it's a labor of love. I don't know that people really understand how much work goes in to creating content. I had no clue. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, doing the research, then recording the video, then editing the video, and then uploading the video and putting all those descriptions in. And like, I didn't even have an Instagram page.
Right.
My daughter had to teach me how to use Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I was Facebook. I mean, like, who uses Facebook? Well, a lot of people my age do, but, you know, and the older generation, but the younger generation doesn't use it at all. Right. And so my daughter, I had no clue how to make a post on Instagram. Like, she had to show me how to do it. And so it has been, in some sense, it was a connecting thing. For me and my kids. It was a way to kind of stay connected with them. Absolutely. And now they think it's cool because it embarrasses them some, because there's some of their friends that are into comics and they think I am a rock star. And so, that's awesome. And I think it's hilarious. But like, I'll go somewhere to pick them up and their friends run out to see me, or they want a picture with me or something like that, which is really weird. And these are kids I know. I've known them their entire lives.
You grew up.
I'm not like walking out in public and the complete strangers like, oh my God, it's the Don. You know, that's not happening. But no, it's just people I know, and they think it's cool now. Like, some of their friends actually want to come on my channel.
That's cool.
And so we're trying to, and we've been trying to work it out for a while, but they want to order these random, like, chocolates from these random countries. Oh, wow. And taste test them. And so we thought we might do that, but also give them a comic book to read.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we would discuss the comic book as we taste tested.
Hey, that's cool.
So we might do something like that. But yeah, no, it truly has. It's one of the greatest blessings of my life. Like, some of these people you see here in the chat, Nick Skicks, DJ, these guys, Digger Jim, all these people are my friends now. I mean, I consider them friends. And so, that's very cool. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, Slotted Up, Rob Fatstacks. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Comic Vet. Yep. Austin LeMay. Like, I could just keep naming people. It's insane how many people I've become connected with.
For real, man. It's awesome. A couple people here in the chat too want to say a quick hello to my good friend Steve Hip Hops and me over at the Team Nerd Herd podcast. Good to see you, Steve. We got Escar Go 80 in the house. Station, my friend. Good to see you as well. I saw who else did I see in here? Did I miss somebody earlier? Hialeah. I saw Hialeah Comic Bro earlier. He said great message when you were talking earlier about some of the motivational stuff and things like that. Very cool. Let's see. Coffee and Comics says this is amazing. Some of the same reasons why I started creating content in this is this community, and how amazing it is to meet and connect with like-minded individuals circulating around comics. Yeah, 100%. Could not agree more.
And who knew, man? And here's the thing, you know, and it's all different races, creeds, sexes. It doesn't matter here. Right. And I've said it 1,000 times, and I will say it again right now. If the rest of the world behaved as the comic book community does with one another, it would be a whole lot better place.
Absolutely, man. Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be game changer.
It really would. I mean, like, it is just so fantastic. And, you know, and I absolutely, you know, like I said, it's a blessing. And I'll say it again. It's been an absolute blessing in my life. And it gave me something. It filled me up in a way that I like I said, I just didn't know I needed it. And it's just been amazing. And it's why I continue the journey today, even when it gets hard, because it's a grind sometimes. Like, I mean, it really is. It's a grind to create content sometimes. It's fun. It's a labor of love, right?
Yep, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about some books that you might have to share, some things that mean something special to you. You have a couple there?
Yeah, I do. And, you know, I was telling you earlier, like, most of my, like, what I consider my real PC are a lot of books that when my uncle passed that he left me. And I keep those in a safety deposit box, along with that Firestorm book I was talking about. That was the first comic book I ever really, I guess, owned. And he's still one of my favorite characters today. I wish they would put him in more, you know, in more stuff. They don't, you know, but I love him. But I picked two books, and this first one is the book, the first book I read when I got back into the hobby, like when I started back into the hobby. And this is the Rebirth series. Like, I came in at a good time, because Rebirth was just starting, and this book had come out, and this is the first comic book I bought, because now I'm a DC guy. Now I like Marvel too. I love Marvel. I love, you know, Spider-Man and the Hulk and the Thing, and, you know, fantastic. Like, I love all those characters, but DC is near and dear to my heart. So this was the first book I bought, and I read this, and I was like, holy crap, that was really good. And so I continued on. So DC Rebirth, this was the actual one shot, the very first Rebirth one shot. Yeah. And of course I had to, because you know how it is when you get back into the hobby, I had to buy every cover. So I have every cover, including the Midnight variant, but one of them is the Jock cover. It's the first appearance of the three Jokers on a cover. So I have that as well. But that was the first one. And then, one of the funnest things about comic books, right, is it's like treasure hunting. And that was the fun. It's very nostalgic for me. And I hope I don't cry. But when I think about my uncle, I think my uncle was so close. And I had a great dad and a great mom. Like, I'm very blessed as far as that goes. I had an amazing family growing up. And family is a big part of who we are as Kentuckians, and especially Eastern Kentuckians, people that live here in the hills. And so digging through back boxes and things like that, it always reminds me of my uncle. And I think about it. And my dad, too. My dad's gone now, too. And it makes me think about him. And it was like going treasure hunting. And so when I first started digging into back boxes, right, and you're searching for that gold, something that is tucked away that they don't know is there, or it's mispriced or whatever. So this is the first book that I bought when I got back into the hobby, and I was treasure hunting, and I stole the book. I don't know how to say any other way. Like, I got it for a crazy steal. Okay. So Thor, first appearance, Beta Ray Bill.
Lovely.
And it's in pretty decent condition, too. Like, there's some spine ticks. Yeah. I mean, there's some spine ticks. It's probably an 8.5.
Still nice, bright white. Still nice. The white covers are tough sometimes.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful book. I'm probably going to send this one out to Erod.
Nice.
And have him, clean and press it. He's going to start teaching me how to kind of grade and about, because I'm not a big grader, right? Like, I don't have a ton of slabs because I like to read them. And so, but yeah, that's the first book I found when I went back out and started digging. And it so reminded me of my uncle, because he used to do this stuff all the time. He found the craziest stuff. But I knew what it was when I saw it. I love Beta Ray Bill. He's one of my favorite characters. Shout out to Taylor Winder. That's his guy. He loves Beta Ray Bill. But yeah, that's the first book I found that I thought was a banger that I got for a really good price.
Heck yeah. That is awesome, man. That is a book I feel like, ever since it kind of, gone up and hype and everything else, like, it's just kind of gotten out of my reach and just kind of fell lower on my priority list. But definitely a beautiful book, obviously very recognizable cover, and hopefully we see some of that character in the MCU. So
I paid $10 for that book.
Yeah, that's $10. Awesome, man. That is awesome.
I mean, and they had it marked, and I just went to the counter and I'm thinking, well, they're going to price it right, because my LCS is notorious for pricing their books at the counter.
Yeah.
After you've dug for 3 hours and found gold, and then you go up there and they have to reprice it. But anyway, the person that day said $10, rang it up. I was like, I felt like I did something wrong. I feel like I just stole this from you.
You're like, can I tip you more money after, or should I not?
Right. I need to slide you like a 20 or something.
Right. I'm gonna get jumped out back. What's gonna happen? That's funny. Couple things here. So first, I wanted to highlight Michael says Justin's a big DC guy too. So he says this because I have recently gotten very much so on the DC bandwagon for a lot of the newer current reads that I've been doing.
Really good. The current DC reads are really good, and I think rival Marvel in a lot of ways. Rival a lot of the indie books. I think especially Black Label, so good.
Oh my gosh! This morning I was just streaming with Haley from Shy Comic Girl. She had a community hangout. I was over there, and we were talking about the DC Black Label books, and I actually mentioned that. I said that the DC Black Label books remind me of indie books. Like, there's no earlier required reading prior to that book. You can jump in. I don't know anything about, I didn't know much about Harley Quinn when I read Harleen. I didn't know much about Wonder Woman when I read Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And there's a bunch of others that I'm just getting into now, that I've never had any knowledge on those characters prior, but it doesn't matter. They're just great reads. They're great books. Yep. And that's ultimately what I'm looking for. So, I'm a big X-Men fan. I'm a big Marvel fan because of the movies and all that. Certainly is what guided me into this hobby to begin with. But I definitely have gone in other directions, like, indies. I love a lot of the indies that have been coming out lately, and DC now, especially with some of the writers like Tom Taylor with Nightwing and all this other stuff. Like, some of that's been game changing for me on how I look at the hobby even. So I have DC to credit to some of that. And it, like I said, now I'm just reading everything. So I, try to just read everything. But shout out to Michael, because I know he's busted my chops here with this line.
No, I read a lot of Marvel and DC. I just, like I said, I just lean to, because that's really what got me started.
How it started for you, right?
That's how it started for me. So I lean heavily into DC, but I also love Spider-Man and the Hulk. And like I said, I love all those, really the mainstream characters, the ones that you see. I'd never read Moon Knight before. And this current Moon Knight run is phenomenal. Like I
heard
love
it's
it.
great. Yeah,
It was so good. And so I'm going to go back and pick up an omnibus of the early Moon Knight stuff and read it so I can kind of get a little history on it.
Sure. No, that's great. I need to do more of that and read the new stuff. I want to read the new stuff too. I read the first issue. I want to read more because Jed McKay, I really like what he does in general. And I've heard some really good things there. Coffee and Comics says,
I'll tell you another one if I can recommend it to you.
Yeah, of course.
Swamp Thing current run.
Ron V.
Yes,
I'm all over this.
So good.
Ron V's another one. I mean, like I find myself following writers for the most part and creators and just artists. Like anything that something like, like Tom King does or Tynion does or, on whatever character, I'm like, I'm in. I don't care if I never read the character before or whatever. I'm in. Same thing here. Coffee and Comic mentioned in Beta Ray Bill's the new stuff. I have not read, but I heard it's amazing. Yeah.
Really good.
It's like 5-issue miniseries, right? From the same person who wrote Dead Earth, I think, Wonder Woman Dead Earth. So yeah, good call there. Michael also brought up everyone should learn to grade. If you buy comics, you should know what you're buying more so that just the title and the issue number. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that as well. At the end of the day, especially if you're investing a lot of money, if you're spending a lot of money, you want to make sure you're not getting taken advantage of or that you're buying the correct stuff.
Let me ask this, Justin. Are you a big slabber of comics? Like I never really got into slabs because I wanted to read them. Like I'm like legit. I will have these series that I'll go back and pull back out and read, if I dig them. Chris Claremont, his run on X-Men, is to me kind of the definitive, run on X-Men. I want to go back and read those books, so I won't grade them. So I will buy the most beat up copy in the world as long as I can read it. But I've started to, as an investment strategy, been looking at how to invest because it's funny. My investment guys, we were talking and I was telling them I'm really into comic books and it's blowing my mind, like how the last 2 years, some of these values, with the MCU and
skyrocket. Yeah.
It's insane. I said, and I think it's something we need to look into as far as an investment strategy, and doing some investing that way, to kind of diversify even further into some things. Cause I have some ball cards that I have. Like I said, I wasn't joking when I said, like, I used to cut weeds for basketball cards. And I just so happened to grow up when Jordan came out. And I probably had 10, 15 boxes of 86 Fleer.
Wow.
And I've got an insane amount of Jordan rookie cards. Like it's, so I've been my mind, and two, stock market and stuff, that's fun. But I really enjoy this hobby. And if I can figure out a way to invest in it as well. So I'm trying to learn how to grade.
Sure.
And like how to really look at a book and know what I'm looking at. And when I interviewed Erod for 10 questions, we talked for a long time after, and we kind of talked about that. So he's going to start helping me learn how to do that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great idea too. For me, I own slabbed books. I mean, I have a couple of kind of key ones behind me, and probably altogether have maybe like 15 or 20 altogether. Some of them are, pretty serious keys, and other ones I would say are more for my personal, fandom. But I mean, I'm with you. Like, I certainly want to read. Like that's what drives me to this hobby, is reading the books. And then on top of that, talking about what I just read with my friends.
Sure.
I love that combination of the two. So if I can do that all day, like, sign me up for that. So with that being said, I'm actually a very big digital guy, because I prefer to just be able to have whatever I want at my fingertips, buy it, grab it, I could travel with my iPad on the plane or whatever, and not have to necessarily lug around a lot of comics.
Well, I can actually credit to you. When we had you on Gary B's channel, you talked about that some. And so I really started looking, and I've started to read quite a bit digitally.
Nice.
A lot of books, like maybe books that I'm not interested in necessarily, because there's only so much space, right?
Oh, yeah. That's another thing.
There's only so much space. So some titles I've started to read digitally, and then sometimes I'll read them digitally, and then like, oh, I love that. I'd like to have that. And then I'll go buy it.
Yes, I do that too.
I do that a lot. And then I saw a comment there talking about Coffee and Comics, said that Jeff Lemire always throws out the gold. I didn't know Jeff Lemire, which is odd until I interviewed Lee from Whack Comics on 10 Questions, and he is a huge Jeff Lemire guy. So I went back and started reading some titles, and that guy's insane. And he just had, I can't think of I can't think of it right now. The latest book he had was an indie title. No,
Primordial?
Not
Maze Book.
Maze Book. So good. It blew my mind.
Jeff Lemire is literally my number one favorite writer, like my absolute favorite. I fell in love with this book, Descender, a year and a half
Descender's
ago.
great. I went and
Yes.
read that. That's great.
So I bought that. I have the hardcovers to that. I got some of them signed. I'd love to meet them someday. I have the first issue as a 9.8 because that to me is just something I would love to own. So yeah, Jeff Lemire definitely spot on for sure. Hey, we got my good friend Albert in the chat as well, talking about the Moon Knight stuff for sure. Yep, and he's chiming in about the Jeff Lemire stuff too. Thanks for stopping by, Albert, and Manny also in the house. Station, my good friend,
my
Station,
man, right there.
And Voice Inject as well, hanging out with us. And I missed earlier, Bobby was also in here. Station, Bobby, thanks for hanging out with us today too. Yeah, no, it's really cool to hear kind of what you're talking about here. And like I said, for me, Slab, like I've sent to CGC twice ever, and I probably won't ever do it again. If I want something slabbed, and nowadays I'm probably just gonna go buy it slab just to kind of save myself of the work or any of the hassle or any extras that go along with it. I know that there are opportunities where you can score big by buying raw and sending it in. I'm not necessarily into it for that at this time of where I stand with the collection, but it's back to what we were saying before, like just having that knowledge of understanding what books you're looking at, the grades on them, what a spine tick can do to a grade of a book, like all that stuff is just great knowledge for anybody. So I definitely agree and recommend that as well. Hey, we got my good friend Gomez in the house. What's going on, brother? So I wanted to ask you, because I want to get into some rapid fire questions and other things of that nature. But before we do, I definitely want to mention or ask you, because this is one of my favorite parts of this, or one of the favorite segments of the show, is if you had advice for someone brand new to this hobby, or maybe they're on the fence of even considering getting into this hobby, whether it's from a reader perspective or collector perspective or investment perspective or whatever the case may be, what comes to mind to you as a piece of advice that you would give to someone brand new to this hobby?
Don't buy everything. No, like I'm legit, and it's the biggest cliche, but it is 100% the truth. Is just buy what you like. And if you're going to get into it, like when I got back into it, I started by buying Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the Hulk. I mean, and it's so cliche to say that, but it is 100% the truth. Is buy what you like, read some stuff digitally, figure out some writers that you like, and then go back, because I feel like everybody kind of goes through that same transition. Is where you jump in, you're buying cover A, B, C through Z, of every book because you think you're supposed to, and try to stay away from the FOMO if at all possible. It's very hard to do that. Mm-hmm. A book gets hot. Try to stay away from it and kind of focus on what you like, and it will come to light. Like I've changed the way that I collect probably 10 times since I got back into it in the last 6 years, and where now I buy the characters that I like, books that I want to have for my personal collection. I do that. But I've also been reading some digitally, and I can figure out what I want to buy as well. But then I'm looking at older books, going back and reading those, and they're very different to read. It just depends on what you're into it for, right? If it's an investment, you can't overspend, right? You can't spend the mortgage money, the grocery money on comic books.
Got to be responsible. Yeah.
Got to be responsible with it. Stay within your budget. That's probably the number one advice. And because I'm sure there are a lot of people, and it's happened to me, where I bought a book thinking I was going to be able to make money on it and then lost my tail. It happens. Sure. So make sure you're not spending money you don't have, or you've got money, you have that money to spend. I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice. And don't buy everything. Buy what you like and figure out what you like and take it slow. And you're the way that you collect will eventually, it will always change, right? It changes for me probably once every 6 months. But and the other thing, Broughton Morgan was on my channel, and we were talking, and we called it comic book ADHD, where you're thinking, okay, I want to collect this He-Man run. Well, now I want to collect this G.I. Joe run, and you're not getting anywhere,
right?
Because you're literally spending all your money trying to buy 5 different runs, and you're getting nothing. And you're not even buying those books. You bought a Hulk 181. So it's trying to focus what you're doing, and that's why I say take it slow, and just try to work your way into it and work within your budget. I think that's my advice.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And yeah, I will say from my own experience, it is very easy to get lost in wanting to try to buy everything. And if like depending if you have no one around to kind of guide you, or when I was first getting into it, didn't know that there was a community or anything like that before I really even got on Instagram or YouTube. And I was just like kind of on my own and just going to the shop and just like trying to buy as much as I could because they all look cool and I wanted to read all these different things. And yeah, I think it's good to definitely take a step back, consider especially we talk about budgeting and things like that. And I know that could be a whole topic on its own, but definitely you want to be responsible. Don't get too carried away and keep it to what you care for most, as you were mentioning. Like, I love that.
You'll never go wrong. I mean, that's the thing, right. A lot of people think Superman's boring, but I love him. And I associate with Clark Kent as much as I do Superman, right? Superman's a superhero. I can't associate with him, but Clark Kent and his values. So I buy Superman in Action Comics. I buy the new Superman Son of Kal-El. I buy Spider-Man. I buy Hulk because that's what I love. Yeah. And those are the books that I'm going to read and I want to have in my PC no matter what. It doesn't matter if anybody else likes them. I do.
Yep.
And really, like I said, that the FOMO part, it's hard to not get into the FOMO. Like it really is. That's why there's a term called FOMO. So
Yep. No, totally, man. Totally. And I've still to this day been trying to figure out how to battle that FOMO. But yeah, well said. Well said. And again, anybody who is joining us right now, I saw VP in the house. What's going on, VP? If you guys are not following Jimmy, I put his information in the description below. Make sure you do so. Great advice, Jimmy. Great advice. And let's jump into some of these rapid fire questions. I was telling you backstage why we call it with quotations, and the chat knows why, as whether it or not. I'm always, sometimes I'm interested to, have my guests elaborate a little bit more, on some of their answers. So, but we'll see how this goes. So, right off the bat, we already know. So, I was going to ask you who's your favorite character, but since I kind of got this hint already of who your number one favorite.
Oh, it's 100% Superman. Yeah. It's my favorite characters are this, in this order: Superman, Firestorm, and Hawkman.
Wow.
Those are my three favorite characters, and for very different reasons. But it's like I said, the Firestorm is really the first character I ever read. Yeah. I've read every book that he's ever been in. I don't know. I just like the character.
Yep.
I love Superman, but I also love, I like everything. If you watch my channel, you will figure that out. Like, I don't take it too serious. I like everything.
Yeah.
But I love the Hulk. I love the Thing. Here's a picture of him back there behind me. I love the Thing. Not so much the Fantastic Four. That's okay. I just like Ben Grimm. I like the Thing. And I like Dr. Fate. But like I said, Spidey, I love Spidey. Everybody loves Spidey. I love Spidey. But yeah, no, definitely Superman number one, then Firestorm, then Hawkman. I love Hawkman too because he's like an explorer. So
love it. I love it. And so let me ask you this then: if you had to choose just one, who is your favorite villain of all time?
Ooh, that is a good question. Lex Luthor, just because he's smart. And he doesn't necessarily have any superpowers until he builds a suit and, some of the things that have happened later in the books, but he was so smart that he could battle Superman. Right. And, I just always loved Lex Luthor. I was trying to think, I really like Bane. For some reason, I don't know why. I think it was Tom Hardy's version of him in the Batman movies, the Batman movies. Like, I love that version of Bane. Like, I thought that was so sick.
Heck yeah.
I was trying to think who else. Oh, Dr. Doom. I love Dr. Doom.
Got to have him up there.
Yeah, I love Dr. Doom.
Another smart guy.
Yes.
Which is dangerous. These smart guys being evil. Let's see.
Oh, Kingpin. Yeah, Coffee Comics and Kingpin. I love Kingpin too.
Oh, heck yeah. He's a boss, man.
He's the OG. Like, he is the original, like that Daredevil on Netflix does not get enough love. And what's the guy's name that plays Kingpin? Vincent.
Anyway,
you know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
He's so good. And Kingpin's one of my favorites. That's a great call, Coffee and Comics. So
yep, absolutely. If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
Flight, 100%. Yes, I would love to be able to fly because I have to drive a lot. Like for my work, I have different locations and I would like to be able to fly. And like I said, and that is 100% a true story. My mom was scared to death that I was going to jump off the
that you
roof
wanted to really take a
because I would tie, a cape around my neck, a towel or whatever, and run around the house like Superman. But I believed 100% that if I could get on the roof and jump off, I could fly off. And so no, flying, because I could get where I need to be, a lot quicker. And it would be much more efficient if I could fly rather than have to drive. So, no question.
We always make the joke here that I would say probably it's gotten better. It's gotten different. It's gotten, I shouldn't say better, but the numbers have spread more. But at one point we had about maybe 50 to 55% of my guests saying flight as their go-to, which is, I mean, it could do so many things for you. So I totally understand it. So yeah, great choice. If you could pick only one current comic book artist as your favorite comic book artist, who comes to mind for you?
I love Greg Capullo. I love Capullo a lot. His work with Scott Snyder on that Batman, the New 52 run. Also the work they did on Metal. Like I love Capullo's art a lot.
I just started reading some of his stuff. Batman
so good.
I have a new book out right now. We Have Demons, it's called.
We Have Demons, And no, I definitely I have to go Capullo. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Kirby too, like the old school stuff, with Kirby. I love his art. There's something about it that really speaks to me. And then like kind of a more current, like I like Shannon Mayer.
He's been great. Those covers are beautiful.
Yeah, and then David Mack is probably my other, like his work with the watercolor. And I met him at C2E2, and he was super cool.
Nice.
And I love Mack's art. Absolutely love his art.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm with you there on all those. I mean, definitely some great ones out there. All right, let's see. Next one up. What is your favorite superhero-based film or comic book? I should say comic book related film of all time.
The original Superman.
I was wondering which one you were going to go with.
The original Superman, because that's really the one. I mean, I watch it today. Like I watched it a week ago. That's cool. Absolutely love it. The Snyder cut of the Justice League is another one that I thought the first one was good. But like I said, I don't take it real serious. I'm not that guy. I'm not real critical. If it will let me escape for a couple hours, I'm probably going to like it. Right. And I like Green Lantern. Are you kidding me? But as far as, no, the original Superman for me is the greatest comic book movie ever made.
Love it. Hey, we got my man Nigel in the house. Desired Comics. What's going on, brother? Says that he's checked out your content before. He says that you're solid. There you go.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Nigel. All right, let's see. Keeping this going here. You mentioned X-Men before, so I have to ask. So John and I, John's Comics with Kids. He and I, we do an Omni X-Men show. We break down omnibus from the Claremont stuff every week. We talk about a new issue. But I have to ask you, as you mentioned Claremont X-Men, who is the better? Well, this is tough. I don't know if I want to say better. All right, we're going to say this. Who is the better team, in your opinion? And take it for what that is better. The old or the original X-Men team or the new X-Men team, meaning Claremont's X-Men team?
For me, it's the original. And that's just more because I'm not a huge X-Men guy, okay? Like, I like the X-Men. I like Wolverine. I like, just like anybody else. I like the movies. But that Claremont run for me, as far as one of the books that I remember reading and kind of going through, really spoke to me. And I tell you, the other thing is I got to meet him at C2E2.
Oh, nice.
And I had him sign, and forgive me, and you'll know, it's the first appearance of Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde.
129.
129. Thank you. I had him sign 129.
Nice.
And he and I talked for a minute.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to him talk with other people, and the depth that he went into talking about these books, it blew my mind. And it blew my mind because it was Chris Claremont sitting there.
Sure.
And he had this massive line, but if you want to sit there and talk to that cat for an hour, he would have.
I heard that he's a talker and very friendly and easy to talk with, which I'm excited. One day I'll have that opportunity one day.
And I said, and it was really interesting. I enjoyed as much in talking with him. I enjoyed listening to these other people who are massive X-Men Claremont fans, like massive.
Yeah.
And listening to them converse with him and the depth that he went into with some of it blew my mind. Like it was a whole other level. And it was just amazing to get to the guy who created that, to listen to him sit and talk about it. But for me, to answer your question, it's the original. It always will be. Sure. And that has more to do with my age probably than it does anything.
That's fair. That's fair. I was just curious where you stood with that. And that's cool that you got to meet him. I'm jealous. Very jealous.
Oh, no, dude. He was so cool. I mean, he really was. I mean, and it was because the way they had him set up and they had the line went back around him, right? So you could sit and listen to him. As he talked to each one of these people. And I went around, I got a bunch, because I like autographs. I like to chase autographs.
Yeah.
And I do that with basketball cards now.
Nice.
But I talked to a lot of different people while I was there. And I was pleasantly surprised at how cool everybody was. Yeah. And how appreciative they were that, you consume their content. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have a job, and they get that, right? Sure. And they were very, very appreciative, and you could just tell because everybody was super cool. But Claremont, more so than anybody, would just talk. I don't know, it was really neat, and he's a legend.
Awesome. Absolutely. I'd love to be even just a fly on the wall on that line that day. Would be awesome.
So good.
What's up, Jose? Thanks for stopping by, man.
Hey, Spidey's Power Time. What's up, dude?
All right, let's do a couple this or that's here. We're gonna run through these. So first one, we'll start it off easy. Let's go with Pepsi or Coca-Cola.
Pepsi. All day.
All day.
I'm a Pepsi guy. Always. I don't know why. It's the choice of a new generation. I don't know. It's but yeah, no Pepsi. Pepsi's what's in this cup right now. So.
Oh man. All right. No judgment here. I'm gonna not judge here. What about pizza or cake?
Oh God.
This is where the tough ones come in, Jimmy.
That's a tough one, dude. I gotta go with cake. There's a lot of other foods I like. I'm a big look at me. I like to eat. I mean, it's a big part of who we are here in the hills, and I like a good piece of chocolate cake. So.
What about Batman or Daredevil?
Oh God, man, these are hard because those are two of my favorites. Probably Daredevil, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, I love Batman. Love Batman. But Daredevil is one of my favorite things to read, and has always been the Frank Miller run. And then this current run by Zdarsky is one of the most underrated comic books out there, period. Nobody talks about it, and it is phenomenal. Batman, I read Batman, and Batman's always solid, and Batman's cool and all his gadgets, but I freaking love Daredevil. Yeah,
I'm with you there. Coffee says
pizza cake. Hey, exactly, Coffee. Right. If we can work that out, then I'm your guy, because I love pizza too. I actually owned a Papa John's at one time.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Several years ago, I always wanted to own a pizza joint, and for whatever reason, and I bought a Papa John's in a town that neighbors us, and ran it for about 5 years. And then there's a whole story behind that, but I ended up selling it. And it was a good experience, though. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, but I owned a Papa John's at one time.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Let's go here. James Tynan or Rom V?
Probably. Sorry, that's my dog. If you can hear
it's okay.
Probably Rom V. Just as far as overall, consistency of me digging his work.
Sure.
Tynan, though, is solid, right? Like, something is killing the children. Nice House by the Lake. Like, he's killed it on the indie stuff.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in his Batman run. It wasn't awful. Like, I read it and it was fine.
Yeah.
But it didn't blow me away.
Yeah.
So I'm probably more like consistent Rom V, because that freaking Swamp Thing run's one of the best things I've read in a while. I love it.
Totally. Did you get a chance to read Layla Starr?
Yes, Layla Starr was amazing. And I hadn't read Layla Starr, and I don't know if you know these girls. Comics Will Break Your Heart. They do the
of course, Jennifer and Mars.
Jennifer and Mars. And they were talking about that book one day, because I love their review show. Yep. And I've had both of them on 10 Questions. And so they introduced me to Layla Starr, and I loved it. Probably one of my favorite books of last year.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a top 3 for me too, 2021. Very cool. Let's see. This is a little bit more of art sided question, but Jenny Frison or Jen Bartel?
God, man, these are hard. Probably because I love them both.
Yeah.
But for me, probably Frison.
I'm with you.
Just overall, her work on Catwoman, and then the work on Wonder Woman. Just some iconic covers to me anyway. And Bart Hill's great too, though. I mean, she's so good. So, but for me, probably Friesen.
I always say with these this or that's we all agree that if you choose one, we know that it doesn't mean that you dislike the other or anything like that. But these are definitely both up there for sure. So says correct answer. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Coffee talking about Swamp Thing killed it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
Definitely agree with that there too.
And the new Swamp Thing, the Green Hell, is great too.
Yeah, Jeff Lemire, right?
Jeff Lemire, yeah, that first one was good too. And then Lemire did was it Robin's or Batman? I don't know. He just did something with Robin.
Robin and Batman. It was
Robin and Batman. Yeah, that was really good too.
Yep, really like that too. All right, let's see. Let's shift gears here a little bit. Some non-comic book related questions, and then we'll wrap up here with anything you have coming up, and we'll wrap up. So, first question: what's your favorite non-comic book related film? What's like the first thing that just comes to mind for you?
Godfather.
Ooh.
Yep. Yeah, right. and maybe two. Maybe two. The original is the original, but I love Godfather too. Also, like with the first, like if it comes on, I watch it. And I'll watch maybe an hour of it, but I'll watch it. I love it.
Yep. I was going to ask if you were going to say number two or not when you
two.
You're saying that. We've had people say two right away like that.
Two is like I love the original Godfather, but two is so good because I love De Niro. So
Yeah, fair, very fair. Let's see. We got to dip a little into this topic because I know you and I feel like we are very much share similar passions here. So let's talk a little bit about sports here for just a sec. So I know some of the answers, but I want to kind of rehear certain things and maybe some other things I don't know about you.
Sure.
But I already know my question normally is are you into sports? And I already know you are. What's your favorite sports and who are your top teams of those sports?
All right. So college basketball, just college anything really. As I stated earlier, we don't have a professional team in Kentucky.
Right.
But when you're born in Kentucky, the first thing they put on you is the Big Blue Nation onesie. And I'm not even joking.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when my daughter was born, the first onesie that she had on said Big Blue Nation.
Love it.
Same thing when I was a kid. When you're born into the nation, and you're a Kentucky basketball fan, period. And so I love Kentucky basketball. Kentucky football is my primary love, though. And we have sucked for years until Stoops got here. And but I've had season tickets for 22 years. I've been to every Kentucky home football game for 22 years.
Wow.
And it's my happy place. That's where I go. Love it. My best friend, who's been my best friend since I was 5 years old, that's who I share the tickets with, and we go to the games. And I take the girls every once in a while, and when he can't go, but love that. So collegiately, all Kentucky all the time.
Yeah.
Professionally, it's probably the Bengals. Just because Cincinnati's so close, like the Reds are close, and so we go to probably, 9-10 games a year. Go watch the Reds play because it's only like a 2-hour drive, so you can drive up and go to the game and come back. It's not bad.
Sure.
And the Bengals, but now really, like as far as when I was a kid, the first professional game that I remember watching where I became a fan was when the Raiders and the now Washington football team played in the Super Bowl, and it was Theismann and Riggins. So I love Washington.
Oh, nice.
And the Bengals are close. I've never been to a Bengals football game.
Oh, wow.
But I've been to Washington 4 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And one of my investors for my business, and I do mortgage loans. We, sell loans to these different investors. And my biggest investor was in Virginia outside of DC. So I'd have to go up there for trainings and things like that early in my career. And when I would go, one of my roommates from college was going to grad school at Maryland. So when I would go there, he would come and get me, and I would just stay the weekend with him. And we would always go to a Washington football game.
Yeah.
And so I always liked them, like kind of my second team. And then NBA, I love basketball.
Yeah.
But I don't have an NBA team. It's whoever the Kentucky guys are playing for. that's who I watch. I have the league package.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I have the league package.
Because you have these relationships with these players that you've been watching, growing up and getting into the pros. So I get that. Totally get that.
Yeah, no, and so that's what I watch. So, but I don't really have a favorite NBA team.
Yeah,
it's just whoever the cat, guy that played for Kentucky. If he's playing and they're in the playoffs, that's who I cheer for.
Nice.
I just like the game of basketball.
Nice.
And I played when I was in high school, and still,
I was just going to ask. Yeah,
I still play some now.
Nice.
When I can. For a little exercise, but no, that's pretty much it. But I like all sports. Like I don't know jack about hockey, but there is nothing better than going to a live hockey game.
I agree 100%. And I know nothing either. I don't know.
I know nothing.
Watching them, they're so fun.
Well, Columbus is, we have to go to Columbus a lot for these dance competitions.
Okay.
Well, Nationwide Arena is right beside the convention center. So I'll slide over and watch a hockey game. There ain't nothing better. Because people go nuts, dude, and they're drinking beer and they're just going nuts, and these guys are beating each other to death, and I have no clue what's going on. But it's
really fast. It's a really fast-paced game, so things can change out of nowhere. Yeah, I love it.
So,
that's great.
And golf, I don't play golf, but if I need a nap on Sunday, I'll turn golf on. Ain't nothing better to sleep to than golf. And then NASCAR, like that's kind of the thing, here in the South. And my dad and I used to go to Bristol to the racetrack every year. When he passed. I went a couple of times after that. It just wasn't as fun because it was really kind of, he and I.
Something you guys did together.
Kind of our thing.
Sure.
But, I don't watch as much NASCAR as I used to, but I'll watch anything. Like, it's really, like, I've always watched sports, but maybe, I had kids, right, and they were little, and I was watching TV, and my kids would be around, and I was like, they can't hear this. I need to turn it. So I just started watching sports all the time again, and so I watch everything.
Nice. Laughing here too. Bobby said, "I like your fried chicken."
It is so good, Bobby. Ain't gonna lie, dude. That Kentucky Fried Chicken, there ain't nothing wrong with it.
Coffee and Comics. Technically, they are now the Commanders.
The Commanders. That's right. Commanders. Yeah, I actually like Washington football team. I was like, that's what they should have selected.
I got used to it.
Yeah. I actually like that. I was like, I think you need to leave it, Washington football team.
Yeah. Very official. All right. Let's see. Next one up here. Let's talk a little bit about music. I'm curious where you stand with music. What's your favorite genre? And if you have a favorite artist or band that comes to mind, who might that be?
I do have a favorite genre, but my favorite band of all time is Metallica.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, sweet. Nice.
That is,
They're awesome live.
I just went 2 months ago to Louisville, Kentucky, nice. Louder Than Life. My cousin lives down there in Louisville. Okay. He's a doctor there.
Yeah.
And he and I have made it a tradition now because Louder Than Life comes to Louisville every year. I go and crash with him for 4 days, and we go out and do the shows.
Wow.
And Metallica played 2 nights. At Louder Than Life. And the first night, they played just a fire set. But the second night, because it was the 30th anniversary of the Black Album, they played the entire Black Album in reverse order.
Oh, wow. In reverse order.
In reverse order.
That's cool, man.
It was amazing. Like, I mean, they're hands down. I've seen them 22 times now.
Wow. Yeah.
Music is a huge part of me. Like, I love music.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely Metallica. What now is considered, I guess, classic rock. I like when I was in college. That's when I knew I was getting old. When I was turned on a radio station, it was a classic rock station.
Yeah, you're like,
and it was the music I love. But like when I was in college, was when Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Screaming Trees, all those bands came out, and so I'm a big. I won't call myself a grunge fan per se, but I love that era of music.
Yeah.
Stone Temple Pilots, Scott Weiland, outside of James Hetfield, is my favorite front man of all time.
Nice.
Saw STP a bunch of different times. Velvet Revolver, saw them a couple of times when he fronted them with Slash. And but I like Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton. There was just a toy came out for sale from him from some shop that I bought. So but I like pretty much all music. Talk about my uncle. My dad and my uncle like Motown. So when I was with them, we listened to Motown all the time.
Yeah.
So I really like Motown. Country music is not really my thing, even though I live in the country and I'm supposed to. It's not really my thing.
Right.
I like I like older country like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard.
Yeah,
I like
that's country.
That's country music. Well, that crap they play today is not.
It's like pop. It's like pop nowadays. It's like pop. It's basically pop music. Basically,
yeah, it's bro country. It's garbage, but
yeah.
it's I don't like it. But now I will tell you, my youngest daughter she is the collector. Okay, like I'm just realizing this about her.
Mm-hmm.
But she digs music too, like that. Like I dig music, so she and I will go on a Saturday afternoon. We'll go to these like thrift shops, and we find this old vinyl, and we'll buy old vinyl and bring it home, and then me and her hang out and listen to music. She found a Marvin Gaye record the other day. She knew who Marvin Gaye was. We brought it home and listened to Marvin Gaye, and it was really cool. And so it's just another way to connect. But she's really into it. But no, every genre of music, but hands down, the mighty Metallica. That's what I love. Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Real quick, wanted to highlight Rod here. Appreciate you, brother.
Rod the
$2 super chat, man. Heck yeah. Thank you so much, man. Let me get a little video here. I always like to play a little something when I get these super chats. Again, Rod, thank you, my friend. Here you go. Here's this one's always one of my favorites.
Rod, babe, I know I just bought a really expensive comic book, but hear me out. I am selling books too. So it's basically like I'm not spending anything.
Really? So what have you sold?
What have I sold? I'm going to sell. I'm saying I'm going to start selling is what I'm saying.
I love that
story of my life right there.
Absolutely, brother. I feel you. No, Rod actually finished second on Lame Frame, and I really struggled on that show.
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough show, man. That's a tough
dude.
Show.
I was so nervous. You talking about being nervous? Like I was nervous.
Yeah,
and I didn't talk at all. And Rod was like, "Dude, you loosen up. It's fine." And I was so nervous. Like it was crazy,
dude.
And he hasn't invited me back, so I'm assuming I finished second that night because I blew up the last drawing.
That's good, man. That's good. Rod, thank you again, brother. Really do appreciate the super chat and just you hanging out here, man. Yeah, Lame Frame's a good one. I had the opportunity to go on once as well, and I did a team up. It was like one of the first times where they did a team competition, and me and my buddy Roscoe, we teamed up, and Roscoe was like sweeping. Yeah, have you seen his drawings? Like that guy can draw.
Roscoe can draw, dude.
And I cannot draw. So, and we won. So I always joke and say, yeah, that time I carried Roscoe to the championship. I'm over here drawing stick figures and all these things, and we were a good team though. I did a little bit more talking, and he did a little bit more of the awesome drawing. So it was a good team effort.
No, Rod's right. Roscoe's a beast, dude. Yeah. Roscoe can draw like legit draw. So
yeah, man. Good stuff there. All right, one more question for you, and then we're gonna wrap up here, and you let the people know where you're at, or they can find you. Last question I always like to close out with has to do with food. We have to talk a little bit about food. I know I mentioned pizza and cake earlier, but I want to really know this answer or to this question. And the question for you, my friend, is if you had the choice of whatever you want on like a Friday night, any choice, you and the family, and whether it's going out to eat or ordering in or cooking or whatever angle that you'd like to go to, what is your go-to meal for a dinner on a Friday night that you get to choose?
Steak. Like I'm a big steak guy, and not just like your normal steak. Like where we live, a lot of people hunt. I don't want to offend anybody, but like people that hunt, I love venison. If it's cooked right, it's so good.
Yeah.
But steak, but that's the easy answer, right? But like maybe my all-time favorite food is chicken wings. Like I love.
Oh yeah.
And I like to sample different kinds of chicken wings. Like I freaking love them. And like I'll probably have some in a little while. No, my daughter. I told you my wife's off at the dance competition with my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter's here with me. And we're going to go to dinner after a while, and we're going to go get steaks. That's what she wants to. So,
there you go. Nice.
So yeah, go get a good steak. I think that's probably a pretty common answer for people. Is probably steak. But
I actually don't think we've had anyone say steak. So
really?
I don't think I've ever had anyone on the show.
I love a good steak, man.
Yeah.
And
maybe one.
Yeah, but then chicken wings after that. Like if I'm out anywhere, like if I don't know what to get, because I'm a real adventurous eater. Like my wife and I'll try anything.
Oh, that's good.
Like anything.
Yeah. I've gotten better at that. As long as it's not spicy. I'm not a spicy guy.
No, see, I can eat spicy. I can eat. I've developed this love for sushi.
Oh, I love sushi, man. That's a common answer here. Usually, a lot of my
I love sushi. I've developed a love for that, and not just like a sushi roll. Like I like just the raw fish.
Oh, okay, sure.
And take the soy and some wasabi and tear that up. I can tear that stuff up all day.
Nice. I just started. This is weird. After I just tell you I don't like anything spicy, I have started to have this craving for wasabi, and I like it now. Within reason, not a lot, but just a little bit for just a tiny bit of a whatever you call that.
Well, if you get too much, it will absolutely light your nostrils up. Like that is the oddest feeling when that wasabi gets up truly in your head.
I think of the show Jackass, the movie. Those guys,
I think of Jason Newsted when he said when he got into Metallica that he left the table and they put a bunch of wasabi in his stuff and he just lit him up. But I know I love it. Like I take the soy and I just mix a big thing of wasabi up in it and eat it like that. I think it's so good. But no, like I said, if I had any, my pick, what do you want? Steak all day.
Nice. Well, next time I'm in your neck of the woods, maybe we'll get a nice steak or some sushi or a little bit of both.
Whatever, dude. Steak and sushi. You will surf and turf. We can knock it out.
Love it. Hey, we got Sheena in the house. HK Wifey, what's going on, Sheena? Thanks for stopping in. We're just wrapping up here. Again, thanks everybody hanging out with us. And Jimmy, these are the questions I had for you, man.
Awesome.
You survived. You did it, man.
Loved it, man. It's fun.
Oh, absolutely, man. I had a blast, and I appreciate you being here. Before we go, though, let the people know where they can find you and if you have anything coming up that you want to highlight.
Yeah, no, of course, on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. I put out content, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Mondays is Mystery Box Monday, where I open a mystery box, and I actually give that box away. So all you got to do is, watch the video, smash the like button, and comment, and I'll tell you what to comment, and I give the box away. So that's Mystery Box Monday. Tuesdays, I do first appearances and key issues for New Comic Book Day. That's probably my most popular video. A lot of people watch that one. Then Wednesdays is New Comic Book Day on a Budget, where I show you the books that I'm reading. But then if you're on a budget and can only buy a certain number of books in a week, I give you my top 5 picks and a bonus sleeper pick. And then Thursday, which is probably the flagship of my channel, is 10 questions. And this week, the guest will be Jerry the Jitterbug. And if you don't know who Jerry the Jitterbug is, you need to go check his cat out. He's a mad scientist. He does comic book restoration on his channel. And he's only shown his face one other time on camera, and that was on Gary B's channel on In the Hot Seat. And he's going to do it for a second time on 10 questions. So that's on Thursdays. And, of course, I'm on Instagram, have a Facebook page as well. But, yeah, come over and check me out. We have channel membership, the Comic Book Mafia. You can see my name down here at the bottom. It's Jimmy the Don. Everybody calls me the Don, and so that has turned into my channel membership, the Comic Book Mafia. So you can come and join the Comic Book Mafia, and we got all kinds of cool stuff over there we do for the membership. Give a mystery box away every month if you're a member. We're going to start doing some workshops. Here in the next couple of weeks, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to have some of my accounting staff come on, and we're going to talk about the hobby and what you can do with the hobby and write it off on your taxes. And especially with some of these IRS rules changing with resellers and things like that, we're going to discuss those things. And that's a members only offering. And we're going to do that. Erod's probably going to come on, talk to us about grading. We're going to have somebody from CGC on. And the biggest guest that I've ever had on 10 Questions, the Comic Toms, the Jim Mintz, the Barry Garys, those guys. We're going to have some sit-downs, one-on-ones with the members as well, where they can ask those questions. So, yeah, that's me. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays when my content comes out. And I also put out motivational quotes each day.
I noticed those.
I put out the motivational quotes, and that's something that I do for my staff.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, like I'm that boss. That's what Rob Fat Sacks tells me. So you're that guy. I am that guy. I send those out anyway to my staff every day. So I've just made it part of my content as well on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, check those out too.
Those messages are great, and it can't hurt just for anybody to kind of, come across them, and it definitely brings everybody up. So I appreciate that.
Well, and I read them like I'm a cheesy guy. Like if you really know me, like I'm a cheese ball. And so, but like I read those quotes, and a lot of times when I put those out, they're for me. Like I'm reading them and they're for me.
Mm-hmm.
like it's the life's a grind. Like the one I put out the other day is, essentially this is, paraphrase, like stop comparing yourself to everybody's feed. You're seeing their highlight reel, and stop comparing yourself. And because sometimes life's a grind, and you're like, man, I need this to work better. And a lot of that stuff you see is for me, and it helps motivate me. And I put that to my staff. So sometimes it helps them and it applies to them, but maybe it helps somebody else too. So
yeah, absolutely. And I encourage people to check it out. Share it if it speaks to you. Maybe you never know who else it'll help or touch for that day. So absolutely love it. Well, that's all we have for today. Next week, I'm going to be taking just a Saturday off, so won't have a Comic Collector Origins next week, but we'll certainly be back the Saturday after that. But otherwise, got a lot of content as well just coming through the week. Getting ready for Super Bowl tomorrow, so excited for that as well. I'll probably be offline tomorrow for the most part, other than some stories that I'll post.
Who day, baby? Who day?
Other than that, Jimmy, again, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate your time and hanging out with us here today, and everybody in the chat. Thank you. If you're watching the replay, thanks for taking that time. Make sure you smash that like button on the way out. And until next time, we will talk to you later.
See you guys.